Breaking news, U.S. lawmakers, including French Hill, chair of the Financial Services Committee, are urging SEC Chair Paul Atkins and the Commission to implement President Trump's executive order, which would open the $12.5 trillion 401k retirement market to cryptocurrency. This means passive long-term retirement money could flow into Bitcoin and crypto, a massive deal. Knowing Paul Atkins, he was likely going to move this forward anyway, but having the backing of Congress makes it even stronger. Wall Street and the public at large are already piling into Bitcoin and crypto ETFs. BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF is officially the fastest growing ETF in history by a wide margin. With news like this, those inflows are only set to accelerate. Washington insider Dennis Porter is also signaling that major political news is coming Tuesday, something he says will reshape Bitcoin's trajectory in US politics. He describes it as a defining moment. Speculation is swirling that this could relate to the US Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. This reserve began with an executive order from President Trump, but the country still awaits an official bipartisan Bitcoin Act signed into law. Analysts expect the US to begin buying Bitcoin in cost-neutral ways before the act is finalized, potentially much sooner. Michael Saylor explains why.
What I would say on this topic is the US could own 20% of the network like that for free. The dollar would strengthen, the nation would be enriched. And the real promise is if you own 4 to 6 million Bitcoin, you're going to pay off the entire national debt. You're going to neutralize it. We can generate a $50 trillion to $80 trillion benefit to the United States people, to the citizens, to the taxpayers, and we can do it simply by seeing the future. It cost $6 million to buy Alaska. The payoff was $1 trillion. Just like right now, you can literally buy it for a song and dance. That's the opportunity. The risk is that you wouldn't want the Saudis to buy it first, or the Russians, or the Chinese, or the Europeans. And there's only room for one nation state to buy up 20% of the network. And obviously, I think it should be the United States. I think it will be the...
September, historically Bitcoin's worst month, just closed as the best September in Bitcoin history. Historically, every green September has been followed by a double-digit green October. Looking at the monthly chart, Bitcoin held above $107,000. A close over $116,000 would be ideal, but any green candle here is bullish. This sets the stage for a massive Q4 in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and quality altcoins. Bitwise CIO Matt Hogan, managing $15 billion, confirms it.
Big story in crypto is institutional adoption. That's still a trade that is gathering steam. Every statistic I look at says they're still buying Bitcoin, they're still buying ETH, they're still buying Solana. Until the data says otherwise, I'm not going to count this trade out. I would look at this sort of Bitcoin sell-off, this crypto sell-off we've seen this weekend, as an opportunity as we move into October, which is historically the best month of the year for crypto.
I'm going to quote Matt Hogan to Matt Hogan. There are now more than 180 public companies that have added Bitcoin to their balance sheet, according to BitcoinTreasuries.net. That sounds like a lot.
It's a down payment. I think that number is going up. You know, some of these companies are those so-called DATs, digital asset treasuries, that just buy Bitcoin for their balance sheet. Mackenzie is right that that momentum is somewhat fading. But on the other side of the balance sheet, you have a broader set of companies that, just like individuals, want to have 5 or 10% Bitcoin. Companies like Figma, companies like Block. I still think that corporate number is going to double over the next year or so. The amount of Bitcoin on those balance sheets are going to go up. And I think there's an even bigger story in ETFs, where the flows, from my perspective, are set to accelerate strongly into Q4. So I am still feeling bullish about this market. I take this pullback as an opportunity and not a setback as we move into Q4.
Avalanche News. Former White House Comms Director Anthony Scaramucci, long bullish on BTC, ETH, and Solana, is now chair of an Avalanche public treasury company. He's also the new lead advisor of AVAX One, which aims to maximize AVAX ownership.
As of today, he's also the new lead advisor of AVAX One. That's a company aiming to maximize ownership of AVAX, which is a native token of Avalanche, just to confuse you a little more, the blockchain used by BlackRock and Visa. AVAX will be a NASDAQ listed, since it is the new name. Again, lots of different pieces to this, for AgriForce Growing Systems. Is that?
I mean, you've read that well. But
is that complicated for people to understand?
Well, it's complicated. To make it simpler, there's a couple of very good layer one technologies like Solana, Ethereum, and Avalanche that we believe are going to be the future of tokenization. And so we made a big bet on this alongside of HiveMind and the Avalanche Foundation. And we're going to have a digital asset treasury for Avalanche. It's a smaller token in terms of market cap relative to the bigger ones. But lots of big corporate CTOs, Andrew, are picking up Avalanche as part of their story to tokenize their funds or potentially even tokenize their stocks.
We just talked about BlackRock and Visa as examples of that.
JP Morgan.
And are they using that instead of Solana or Ethereum?
No, I think we believe in a multi-chain world, but I think what's interesting about Avalanche, they have something called subnets so that you can do some customization on the chain through the contract layering on the token. So it allows for people to sort of have their own digital fingerprint. I often say that Avalanche is like a Swiss Army knife of layer one, so it's got a lot of flexibility. So, well, listen, we like the other tokens as well, year end.
What do you make of what's happening right now with crypto prices? They've fallen a bit, but obviously they were on a run also.
Yeah, listen, September's typically the worst month for the cryptocurrency businesses. Some of it has to do with tax selling. Some of it has to do with a big run-up that's taken place in the last couple of months, Andrew. But I think long-term, Skybridge is still maintaining his $150,000 price target for Bitcoin by year end. I think it's just a function of the way things get bought in the industry. So you'll see November into December, I think, being good buying periods, and still a tremendous amount of demand for the assets.
What can you explain what's happening right now? Is there something that's actually happening?
No, I mean, you mean because we've got a 3 or 4% drop in the No, I mean, listen, it's just typical volatility. I think we've had a big run up. There's been a lot of positive announcements, and I think we're just churning a little bit. But again, there's been seasonality. If you look at the 15 years since the inception of Bitcoin, there's been September lows typically. So this is very consistent with that.
As always, we bring you the latest crypto insights daily. This is Kaylin from Kaylin Moss Channel. Subscribe for daily updates. Our best years are still ahead.